What's going on, YouTube? So Audi has long had a very extensive lineup of crossovers with something for just about every buyer.
And sitting at the top of that lineup in terms of size is this oh-so-popular Audi Q7.
Audi has added some important standard features for 2024, and they've also added a new sporty trim level. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so let's get things started here under the hood as always. So for 2024, the powertrain options are going to remain the same. You can still get the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, but most people will be going for this, the 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine. It's making 335 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque.
All models are paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. You have standard quattro all-wheel drive, and as far as fuel economy is concerned, it comes in at 21 mpg combined.
Now, of course, like all of our reviews, we're going to go out for a test drive later on to show you the performance. We're also going to get things like our signature sound level reading. That way we can compare the Q7 to all its competition on carconfections.com. But first, let's close up the hood and talk about any 2024 changes that happen on the exterior. So let's just go ahead and get things started with one of those updates for 2024. And that's going to impact your front design as well as really the rest of the exterior. New to the US for this model year is the S-Line Sport Package, which you can add to the Prestige model. This is going to basically give the Q7 an SQ7-like appearance. That's really the most basic way that I can kind of describe that. Just everything's going to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more S-like without you actually having to get the SQ7. Now, in terms of this model, we have the black optic package added to the Prestige. As you can see, that's going to black out our signature single frame grille. We have the black emblems running through there. And then as far as our headlights, you're also always going to have very premium looking LED headlights on all models. You actually have 3 different arrangements. So you have a standard LED, a matrix LED, and then you have a high-end matrix LED. And that one's going to come with fancy animations and projections. Now, as we head around to the rear design, you'll continue to see that classic Q7 look carry on.
It looks really, really good despite its age. And if you go for the black optic model, that's also going to black everything out back here. Looks phenomenal. Now, Drew went ahead and hopped inside so we can check out the TLI elements and see if all 3 are LED. That's something we do here at Car Confections. As you can see, we do have an LED brake light, dynamic LED turn signal indicator. However, we do have an incandescent reverse light integrated down here. For a luxury vehicle, I do like to see all 3 elements as LED, but it's not too bad overall considering the other elements are very premium. Now, speaking of down here at the bottom, you're going to have a pretty aggressive diffuser area. For the black optic, once again, it's going to be blacked out. We have some faux exhaust pipes on the sides, and as far as your tow rating is concerned, it's a very impressive 7,700 pounds if you choose a V6 model.
Now, as far as your wheels are concerned, you do have a wide variety of choices depending on which model you choose. The new S-Line package will give you some special wheels as well. These are going to be the 21-inch alloy wheels. These have been around for a while, but I think they look really, really nice with the overall package of the Q7. And let's move up here to our mirrors. Fully loaded as long as you choose at least the Premium Plus model. So that means you're going to have auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, heating, and power folding.
Now here at the side, the styling is going to continue to be really nice blacked out elements here with the black optic package, including down here on the side. And as far as your overall vehicle length, it's coming in at 199 inches long. Now, for your safety systems, Audi is updating this area for 2024, and I'm very happy to tell you that you're going to get all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment. You have newly standard adaptive cruise control, which is certainly a big benefit. Of course, if you choose a Q7, you kind of want all those luxury goodies, so I'm glad that Audi is now including that this model year. But guys, let's see what changes are on the inside. But before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's move on to the interior. First, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. Of course, you have a smart entry system with a nice gloss black finish. It's not on the key fob, but there is an update in this area, and that's the fact that you can now remote start your Q7 from the Audi app. Now, getting inside, just reach behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. Then taking a look inside the interior. As far as the design, no major updates this year, but I do want to start by talking about interior color and material choices. So you are going to have standard leather on the Q7, just like every other Audi, but if you choose the high-end luxury package, that's going to upgrade you to Valcona leather. We just have the standard leather, and as you can see, it is going to be finished in black with the perforations running through it. The seats themselves are going to be 12-way power adjusting with 4-way lumbar support. That top-end luxury package, again, will give you some additional features here, including 18 ways of adjustment and power massaging. I do also want to point out that memory seats are standard on all models, and if you choose that S Sport package, you will get a special S seat inside of this interior, again, looking like that SQ7. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we've climbed inside, let's take a look at the rest of the cabin materials. Starting over here on our door trim, we do have the full leather covering. We also have more leather through here, soft touch along the top, and then you have gloss finished wood. As we go to the top of the dash, again, more soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. The high-end luxury model will cover all this up with extended leather. And then you also have your piano black, more wood trim through there. And then the center is also going to be finished in wood trim and piano black as a combination. But let's go ahead and fire it up with the push button start located right here. Get a very cinematic start up there. And now that it's fired up, let's get into the details and start with our gauge cluster here. As you would expect, with all the Audis in their lineup, you always want that virtual cockpit system. Q7 does have it, 12.3-inch full digital setup. You can do all the fun tricks as usual, like make the map really large to take up most of the screen. Now, if you choose a top-end Prestige model, you're also going to get a head-up display up at the top. Now, pulling back to the steering wheel, you do have that typical Audi design, fully leather wrapped. It is also going to have standard power adjusting, and then steering wheel heating is an available option. Now, this is a big SUV on the outside, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have a lot of space on the inside, and you're going to see what I mean in just a second here. Because if we open up our center console, there are two donuts. We have our donut test, of course, because this is Car Confections, and we like to see how many donuts will fit in the center console. And in this case, you might have 6 or 7 people in the Q7, but only 2 of them are going to get a donut. So just you and whoever's up in the front, all the kids are going to be screaming with rage. And if you need to charge your cell phone, you're actually going to have to take that down to 0. So this is not going to be the best place to store your donuts. Now up in front of that, we have our 2 cup holders. You have a slot here for your key fob, and that's actually it for our interior storage. As you can see, that's not the strongest area of this Q7, certainly. Now, as far as the shifter is concerned, we do have an electronic shifter. Typical Audi, just pull back for drive, bump to the right if you want to activate manual shifting. You have paddles on the steering wheel. R is for reverse, and when you do that, you'll have your 360-degree camera system pop up if you choose at least the Premium Plus version. You also have the cool 3D view, so you can actually go around your vehicle, and you also do have remote parking abilities for both parallel and perpendicular parking. Then just press the P for park, and then behind that is your electronic parking brake. Now, as we kind of move on from this area, you'll see we do have a physical volume knob located right here. You're going to have several different audio system choices. Most models are going to come with what we have. This is a 19-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, and let's go ahead and give it a sample. So overall sound quality of this system is quite nice. You do continue to have the availability of an ultra high-end Bang & Olufsen sound system. That's the one that has the rising tweeters in the corner, and I believe we have reviewed that in the past if you want to kind of check that out on some of the other Audi products, but that's a really cool system as well. Now let's turn our attention to our dual display setup, and specifically this lower display. So this is going to be the 8.6-inch display, and the primary function of this is climate controls. So you have standard 3-zone climate. If you choose the Prestige, that's going to upgrade you to 4-zone climate control. It's also going to add the 3-stage ventilated seats you see here, in addition to the standard 3-stage heated seats. As far as the climate controls, these are touch capacitive, so you'll feel that click even though this is a touch screen, and some of your additional functions are going to be located inside of that button there, and it pulls it up there. That's how you will turn on your heated steering wheel, for example. Now, let's talk a little bit about the other display. This one is the main infotainment display. This is 10.1 inches. This is the Audi MMI system. Again, it also is touch capacitive and has haptic feedback. You have built-in navigation, wireless Android Auto, and wireless Apple CarPlay as well. Now as we rise up here to our mirror, you do have an auto-dimming mirror with compass built in. Your HomeLink remotes are going to be located inside the lower display. And then up top, you'll find a very nice panoramic sunroof. As you can see, we do have a kind of transparent sunshade, and it slowly slides back to reveal a very large piece of glass. It's definitely larger than usual because it goes back past even the second row, and the front panel does open up.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the practical elements about this Q7, the rear seat area and cargo area. So we're going to go ahead and start with the rear seat space. We're sitting at 38.8 inches of both leg and headroom for this Audi Q7. So that's a good amount of space. That actually is better than most of the rivals like Acura MDX and Volvo XC90. I did bring my ruler so we can measure how much knee space there is. And we're sitting at about 9 inches of knee space. Very impressive. I'm 5'9". This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seats themselves. As far as the adjustability, I can recline these seats as well quite a good distance to get some extra comfort. Now, speaking of comfort, I do want to talk about this. You do have bench seating here on the Q7. Captain's chairs are actually not available on this model. And then here in the center, we have vents. Right here in the middle. You also have them integrated here on the B-pillar, so you actually have 2 vents for each passenger in the rear, so that's very nice. Dropping down below that, you actually have this touch capacitive like screen setup here. That's to adjust your own climate controls from the front. We do have 4-zone climate on the Prestige model as standard equipment, so that's very nice. Additionally, we're also going to get 3-stage heated rear seats as standard equipment on the Prestige model, or optional on the Premium Plus. So lots of nice goodies going on here. Down below that, we have a 12-volt outlet and 2 charging USB ports as well that are nice and lighted. Now, if you fold down the center armrest here, we do have a couple cup holders inside, although I think they'd have to be pretty much a shot glass or a Dixie cup. And I don't know if you'd want your kids taking shots in the back of the Q7, so I'm not sure why it's not a little bit bigger. And then as far as the door trim, turning over to that, we do have rear window sunshades, once again included as standard equipment on the Prestige model. The rest of the door trim is very nice. You have wood, leather, and then down in the very bottom, you have some bottle storage. And of course, this is a Q7. Like we said, this is the biggest Audi in the lineup. That does mean we have a 3rd row, so let's go ahead and check that out. So in order to get back here, it's not quite as easy as some of the other rivals like MDX. You do have to press that down. When you do that, then you have to push this. When you push that, that's going to allow the seat bottom to kind of tilt up and out of the way. It does allow for pretty easy entry into the 3rd row itself, though, so not too bad overall, but it is a 2-step process. Now, sliding into the Q7's 3rd row itself, we do have 2 seats back here, which is pretty common for this segment of vehicle, and we're looking at about 29 inches of legroom, 36 inches of headroom. Once again, I want to remind you, I'm 5'9". My hair is kind of brushing the ceiling here, and I don't have any additional legroom at all with the seats slid all the way back. So decent amount of space, but it's not going to be as good as you can get out of something like the new Lexus TX, that's for sure. My feet do have a place to slide up underneath the seat. The thigh support is okay, and as far as features are concerned, we do have cup holders on the sides, no USB ports, and we're also not going to have any vents in the Q7. So as far as how this lands on the 3rd row rating scale, I'd say this is going to be fit for kids. I think if you threw the in-laws back here, they might be complaining a bit too much for your likeness. Now walking up to the Q7's tailgate area, we do have a standard hands-free power tailgate, so that's certainly a nice feature. And as far as the space is concerned in the cargo area of the Q7, you're going to have a pretty good amount, 15 cubic feet behind the third row seats. If we fold those down, we're looking at about 38 cubic feet, and then as a maximum, we're sitting at about 71 cubic feet. Now, if you're curious as to how that compares to some of the rivals, that's very much on par with the Acura MDX, a little bit less than what you're going to get in Volvo XC90, and of course, quite a bit less than what you're going to get in that new Lexus TX model. Now, as far as features are concerned back here, I do want to talk about this. You'll notice a couple buttons over here on the side. This is actually to raise and lower your air suspension to make loading in objects a little bit easier. You'll also notice that we have these buttons right here. That's because we have a power folding third row, which is a feature that you don't get on a lot of those rivals like the Acura MDX. I do want to point out, though, you're not going to be able to fold the second row of seats here in the cargo area. You will have to go up there and fold those manually down. But before I do that, since we have had a few people say that they wanted this measure, I'll go ahead and give them that. Behind the second row, we're sitting at 46 inches of length. And then now that we got all of those folded down, do keep in mind you have to fold all three seats down individually. That does give you a lot of customizability, but it is a little bit of a pain if you just want all the seats folded down. Now, as far as the overall length behind the driver's seat, we're sitting at 82 inches of cargo length. And let me go ahead and get your cargo width. We're sitting at about 46.5 inches wide, so a very good cargo length and width figure, although the overall cargo capacity is not a class leader. As far as what's under here, there's not going to be any underfloor storage. It's actually just your subwoofer. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Audi Q7, and in this test drive we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. But first we're going to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Just a little punch of the throttle there to give you a little preview of the acceleration in this 2024 Audi Q7. Now, like I said at the spec dump, there are technically two engines. The base model is going to have that 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, but there's a good reason why pretty much everybody chooses this 3-liter turbo V6. This has performance just a lot more befitting of a luxury 3-row SUV. It's smooth, refined, and quite powerful.
Yeah. As far as the power ratings, to remind you guys, it's 335 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. So very healthy power figures for a 3-row vehicle like this. And it is going to be quite a bit of a boost over that standard 4-cylinder option, which Audi labels 45. I don't know if we mentioned this up until this point, but 45 is the 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder model. That makes 261 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. And then if you choose the V6, it's labeled as TFSI 55. This is the standard option on the Prestige, though. So if you go for that highest-end model, you're going to go ahead and get this 3-liter V6 standard equipment.
Yeah, it takes no time really at all to get up to 60 miles an hour. I believe it's about under 6 seconds, I think.
Yeah, 5.7 is what Audi says.
There you go. Now, we don't have a lot of corners on our route today, but that little corner there is a good time to talk about a couple things. So first of all, let's talk about the air suspension, because that plays a key role in the dynamics of this SUV. Since we do have the air suspension on board, that allows you to have a more dramatic difference between your drive modes. So when you choose dynamic, which is what I have just done, that's going to do the usual assortment of things to engine, transmission, throttle, response, steering, but also lower down the Q7 and tighten up its suspension response. That way you have a more agile feel behind the wheel. And indeed, when you go around some of the corners, you can certainly feel that. Now, of course, on the other side of that, if you go into comfort mode, that's going to allow you to just have the ultimate comfort and just pick, whatever is fitting of the situation. I definitely like that you have the choice of drive modes.
Yeah, I just love the way this engine sounds. It really has a very nice growl to it.
Yes, for sure.
While we're going 55 here, I'll go ahead and put it back into comfort mode. Get our sound level reading. 54.7 is our official Car Confections sound level reading, going 55 miles an hour in the 2024 Audi Q7. That is a very good sound level reading, but I don't have to sit here and guess about the sound level reading because I can actually go to carconfections.com, and on our website we've actually posted all of the sound level readings for all of this vehicle's competitors as well as all the cars that we've tested on this channel, which, believe me, is a lot of cars in our database. And as far as how that compares to its rivals, that does place it pretty much in the middle of the pack when it comes to sound level reading. The Lexus TX is the king when it comes to the sound level. And then, of course, the Volvo XC90 and QX60 are also very quiet on that list, but certainly not a bad sound level reading, that's for sure.
Yeah, everything in this segment is really
very quiet.
Super quiet.
And we do have something to talk about here because this Q7, being the Prestige, is supposed to have dual pane glass. However, this particular tester right here actually has a $500 credit because we don't have the dual pane acoustic glass. So that could be part of the reason why this is testing a little bit louder on that scale, is because on the Prestige model you're supposed to get the thicker glass to give you that more insulation, and we don't have that on this particular model.
Now, as I'm stopping here, I want to talk about something. Now, if you were paying attention to my gauge cluster there, you would have noticed the engine turns itself off as I'm coming to a stop, not after I come to a stop, and that is because this is a mild hybrid. So when you have that 3-liter engine, you are going to get the mild hybrid setup that's going to mostly power advanced auto start stop, but the 48-volt electrical components also power electronics, climate control, things like that.
Yeah, and as far as your fuel economy is concerned, for this TFSI 55 model, you're coming in at 21 mpg combined, which is not bad fuel economy for something with this much power, this much performance and refinement, that's for sure. And that is part of the reason why it is able to achieve a pretty good fuel economy figure, is because of that. And now let's go ahead and do one of our other signature elements, our airball and slam dunk. Drew, what's our slam dunk for the 24 Q7?
Well, it'll be the 2024 updates. You just have more standard features on board across the lineup. That's always nice to see. You also have that new S-Line Sport model, which is going to give you that enhanced exterior design that actually looks a lot like the SQ7 for those of you who want that look, but you don't have to get that big burly V8 that you get in that model and the price associated with it. So that's certainly nice. And it overall just kind of enhances the very handsome exterior that's aging very gracefully.
Yeah, and as far as our airball is concerned, you only fit 2 donuts in the center console. I mean, jokes aside with the donuts, it really does not have any interior space in here, which I do think is an issue when you're looking at a family 3-row SUV. The Q7 is Audi's biggest SUV in their lineup, and there's just not really any center console space. You do have a little bit of room, maybe for a few little items, but aside from that, you're not going to have a lot of interior storage, which is certainly a big difference from a lot of those other family-oriented rivals like the new Lexus TX. And wrapping things up here, I do want to just go ahead and mention your ride quality. Drew talked about the sportiness of this Q7 when it comes to that, but I do want to also mention that the air suspension does a fantastic job of just making your ride incredibly comfortable on the day-to-day, especially when you're here in comfort mode. When you hit a bump, it does a phenomenal job of soaking it up. This is truly one of the nicest riding vehicles you can buy, especially in this segment, so certainly very impressive there. And I do want to point out that the air suspension is standard equipment if you choose a Prestige trim level. And lastly here, as far as the warranties are concerned, you do have 4-year 50,000 miles for both your basic and powertrain. Additionally, Audi does not do complimentary maintenance. And now let's go ahead and start talking about pricing for the 2024 Q7. Now, prices don't rise too much for this model year. It's only going to be about $500, which is the standard affair for this vehicle model year change. As you can see, we have the 24 Q7. We also have the Prestige 55 model. We have quite a few options as well, so as we add all those up, plus the $1195 destination, we're sitting at $80,590. Do keep in mind we have a little bit of a credit for the missing dual pane glass on this model, so just a touch over $80,000 as tested today. Also, we want to remind you guys, if you're looking to buy a new car and you're a smart shopper, the next place you should go to is carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, on our website, we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on that new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the 2024 Audi Q7. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help us to make more videos like this, as well as keep the channel going. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and we cover a lot of cool cars, so your support does make that all possible. If you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.